Hey everyone, we've been losing a bit of traction lately. So please subscribe, it's free and helps us keep creating great content for you. Your support means a lot. Now, let's dive in. I and Emma's colleague, the one called her first love, were in a traffic accident. She chose to operate to save her first love, while I was forced to be transferred to another hospital, delaying my treatment. When I woke up, I had lost my memory, my recollection stopping 10 years ago. I looked at Emma and asked blankly, "Did you and I get married? So, can we get a divorce? After all, you don't even like me, and I already have a girlfriend." When I was rescued, I still had some consciousness. Hearing people say I would be transferred to Natlan Hospital, I was secretly happy. Because Emma worked there. She was one of the country's leading clinical doctors. And also my wife. But because many passenger buses were involved in the accident at the same time, with many dead and injured, the nearby hospitals were all overwhelmed. Fortunately, I was brought in early, just in time to be pushed into the emergency room. However, just before entering the operating room, someone ran over and said, "Dr. Emma, there's a patient outside requesting to be treated first." Hearing that, although my consciousness was vague, I still tightly gripped the blanket. Because I knew, time is life. Slowing down even for a second could mean losing the chance to live. That person was trying to snatch away my chance to live. But I quickly calmed down. Emma was not a weak-willed person. Unless that person was in more critical condition than me, she would never agree. And clearly that person was still strong enough to request to cut in line. Meaning their condition couldn't be as serious as mine. As long as Emma wiped the blood off my face, she would recognize that I was her husband. Husband and wife. She would definitely save me first. Last night, she even said to me, "Messi, let's live a really good life together from now on." Yes, I had waited for that sentence for a long time. She finally opened her heart to me. Our 3 years of marriage. The time passed as cold as ice. Only during rare moments of intimacy did I feel a fragile tenderness from her. For most of the time, she was just the indifferent Dr. Emma. Everyone knew. She didn't love me. This marriage was forced by her grandfather. She once had a first love. Someone she loved deeply. But because of family opposition, that person had to leave. And the two lost contact. She was heartbroken, and only then did she agree to marry me. On our wedding night, she drank too much and hastily pulled me out of the bedroom, cutting off everything I intended to say. Later, some people rumored that she married me only because I resembled that person by 70%. But I didn't believe it. Although this marriage was one of convenience, I truly loved her. I was willing to wait. Even 3 years, it didn't matter. Because finally, she was willing to say that she wanted to live a good life with me. I couldn't bear to die in an accident like this. Last night, I even promised her that I would stay by her side forever. That night, Emma was a bit childish, even getting out paper and pen and making me sign a commitment. It was a pity that before I could sign, there was an urgent call, and she had to leave. Before she left, she hugged me and said she would come back. But I waited and waited, and she still hadn't returned. Probably because she was busy at the hospital. I was used to it. She was always like that. I thought, that piece of paper must still be kept. When I recover, I will definitely sign it and put my fingerprint on it right in front of her. Thinking of that, my consciousness gradually became vague. Pain spreading throughout my body. I was about to pass out. But I still hadn't been taken into the operating room. Hadn't been given painkillers. Why? In my daze, I heard someone's voice. "Dr. Emma, the patient requesting to be treated first is Elon." Hearing that name, my vague consciousness suddenly cleared for a moment. I had heard that name before. He was Emma's first love. So, would Emma choose to save him first? No, impossible. I was brought in first. Moreover, he was conscious enough to say his name, proving that he wasn't as critical as me. Regardless of the perspective, Emma would save me first. I tried to raise my right hand, wanting her to see the wedding ring on my ring finger. But I was too weak. The arm only lifted slightly before falling down. Just as my heart was burning with anxiety, I heard her firm and hurried voice ring out. Save him first. ... I don't know what happened after that. The next morning, when the first rays of sunlight shone on the neighboring city, Emma finally walked out of the operating room, her whole body utterly exhausted. A nurse ran up to report. Dr. Emma, the patient in bed number 3 wants to see you, it's Elon. Hearing that name, her eyes drooped slightly. Tell Dr. Stephen to go. I'm tired. In fact, she was still angry at him. That year, Elon left without a word, leaving her tormented for all these years. She had intended to forget him, intended to live a good life with Messi. Yet he returned, saying he had his own private struggles. But who doesn't have their own private struggles? When she married me that year, wasn't it also out of necessity? Initially, she intended to be indifferent to me. But when she saw Messi's face at the wedding, her heart stirred slightly. On our wedding night, she ruined an entire bed sheet. The next morning, looking at the young man's body covered in hickeys, she felt she had been cruel. After that, she set a rule for herself. She could only return home twice a week. Because she was afraid, as long as she saw me, she wouldn't be able to control herself. Messi was like a poison. The more she tried to avoid him, the more she was drawn in. For the past 3 years, she had always tried to restrain herself, only to fail completely last night. She couldn't understand herself anymore. Only one thought remained in her mind. Even if I don't love Messi, I must tie him to my side for the rest of his life. Even if she was found out, even if she was hated, she couldn't let him leave. She knew it was shameful, but she couldn't act any differently. When she returned to the lounge, Emma had just taken off her white lab coat, when she suddenly realized something was missing. That's right. The stew. Today, Messi hadn't made her stew. Every time she stayed up late working, Messi, would personally bring her a meal. Yet, last night she was busy all night, and didn't even get a single call. Realizing that, she felt both annoyed and worried. After a few seconds of internal struggle, Emma finally couldn't stand it and opened her phone. The pinned contact at the top was Elon. She impatiently scrolled down, until she saw my name. As soon as the phone connected, there was a long silence on the other end before someone answered. Hello, may I ask if you are Messi's family? He is currently at our hospital, and his condition is a bit serious. Hearing this, Emma's mind went blank for a second. What? Why is he at the hospital? Is he injured? Which hospital is it? I am Messi's wife. Before she could finish, she heard my somewhat displeased voice on the other end. Impossible, is this a scam? I don't have a wife. It was at that moment Emma realized. I had lost my memory. Without time to think further, she immediately ran straight out of the office. At that moment, the head nurse just walked in. Seeing Emma's hurry, she smiled and said, Dr. Emma, perfect timing. Elon is awake, and he wants to see you too. According to the nurse's experience, Elon was the first person Emma saved last night, so he must be very important to her. But pity the patient who was transferred. They said the delay in treatment due to the transfer was very serious. What a karma. Clearly that Elon guy wasn't that critical. Yet he had to pull strings to harm someone else. The head nurse shook her head. But there's nothing that can be done. Who told that other patient not to have any connections? The best private hospital in this city. Isn't it owned by Emma's family? The nurse thought so, but saw Emma already far away. She quickly said, Dr. Emma, you're going the wrong way. The elevator door closed, leaving only a sigh. Forget it, I don't like that Elon guy anyway. Emma must have her own private struggles. Emma had never seen an elevator run so slowly. At this moment, her mind was only filled with images of me. Messi also had an accident last night. Why wasn't he brought to her hospital? The hospital where I was located was in the suburbs, with outdated equipment, and the team of doctors wasn't particularly skilled either. Why was I sent there? If I had been brought to her emergency room, Emma would definitely have made sure I was safe. Wouldn't have let me lose my memory like this. Thinking of this, her heart was in turmoil. On the way to the hospital, Emma turned the car around, went home, carrying the marriage certificate, and intending to take a picture of our wedding photo too. But she searched and couldn't find it. Impossible. A married couple for 3 years. Didn't even have a single photo together? Emma ransacked the entire house. But the result was the same. In truth, she never truly wanted to marry me initially. It was just a commercial marriage. My mother and stepfather never stood up for me. So Emma never felt she was hurting me. 3 years of marriage. Not a single photo together. Only the marriage certificate. Would I believe her? Emma anxiously drove to the hospital and pushed open the door to the ward. When she heard the door open, I was sitting and looking at my phone. I had just remembered the password. Fortunately, I hadn't changed it all these years. The doctor said I had lost my memory, asked me many questions, and concluded that my memory stopped 10 years ago. Click. The sound of the door echoed. I looked up reflexively, seeing someone so familiar that my heart ached. Emma, you finally came. Seeing her, the stone in my heart dropped. I quickly scanned the messages, confirming she was indeed my wife. But I still didn't dare to believe it. I looked at her, slightly stunned. Emma, did we really get married? She stiffened, slowly walked to the bedside, and gently nodded. I looked closely at her. After becoming my wife, she hadn't changed much. Still cold and distant, just like during our school days. I hesitated a bit, then said very cautiously, "So, can we get a divorce?" Emma had been proud since childhood. I was afraid of hurting her self-esteem. Indeed, the next second she looked at me with an expression of disbelief. Her complexion also chilled a few degrees. But so what? I didn't need to live according to her mood. I took a deep breath, gathering all my courage to continue. Anyway, I don't like you. I already have a girlfriend. The words just left my mouth, and I immediately regretted it. Because 10 years ago, my girlfriend hadn't been made public yet. If Emma knew, she would definitely ridicule me. Who is your girlfriend? Her voice was noticeably lower, as cold as ice. It's none of your business. I smiled faintly, then returned to the main topic. About the divorce. The doctor said I can't be discharged yet. How about we discuss it further? And when I'm better, we can do the paperwork. All right? Hearing this, it felt like a small lion was clawing in Emma's chest. How could he say, divorce? As lightly as talking about buying vegetables? Why? Just because you no longer like me. Word by word, Emma looked at me and clearly stated. Because right now you are only allowed to like me. Understood? Yes, I like her, saying that wasn't wrong either. I reopened the chat log between us over the past few years. The messages were entirely initiated by me. Have you eaten yet? Are you asleep yet? It's getting cold, remember to wear warm clothes. I've stewed soup for you. Today is our wedding anniversary. I've booked a table at the restaurant. Can you come home a bit earlier? And Emma never used more than 3 words. Eaten. Slept. Busy. The more I looked, the more my heart ached. Yes, I liked her. But she never liked me. Emma, do you find me utterly despicable? Is your life so glorious that you need me to kneel down and flatter you? If not, I truly don't understand. Why won't you divorce me? Who are you calling a kneeler and a flatterer? Emma's voice was cold. Go ahead and post our entire chat history online. And see if I'm flattering you or if you're flattering me. Clearly, if you don't like me, then why are you torturing yourself? I forced a laugh, my voice sinking. I don't understand either. Why, after 10 years, am I still used to being tormented by you like this? Emma, tell me, why is that? She didn't answer. She only told me to take good care of my injury. And then became my personal nurse, caring for me day and night without leaving. I really wanted to know. Why was no one else visiting me except her? My phone was very clean. Except for Emma. There was no other name. Emma, why was I in a car accident? Was it the fault of the other driver? I hesitated, then asked further. Where was I driving to? I remember clearly, I don't know how to drive. I don't know either. Emma's voice was tiny, and sounded full of guilt. What about my parents? Why aren't they here to take care of me? They're busy with work. Besides, I'm here. There really isn't a need for anyone else. My memory was too blank. I only remembered the images of my parents when they were young. That's right, I frowned. Are we really in a commercial marriage? Impossible. My parents wouldn't let me marry someone I didn't like. Your parents are abroad. Traveling with your younger brother. Younger brother? I have a younger brother? I looked up at her, full of doubt. No way. Your younger brother is only 8 this year. And your parents dote on him very much. So, they let her marry his older brother? I bowed my head, not saying anything more. A memory of my childhood flashed in my mind. My parents still loved me. But deep down, they seemed disappointed in me. With such a big house, the family business will be handed over to the eldest son sooner or later. But what good is a gentle eldest son? Those words kept echoing in my head. They once said, if only we had a son like old man Stephen's family, who had 2 talented children. How blissful. Later, find a talented daughter-in-law to take over the business. That's a life worth looking forward to. So their longing has been fulfilled. And I am no longer necessary? Thinking of this, my heart grew even more resolute. No matter what, I must divorce Emma. Emma, do you know Angelina? I suddenly grabbed her sleeve, my eyes full of anticipation. I don't. Who is she? Emma was wringing a towel, her lips tightly pursed. I took a deep breath, my cheeks flushed. She's my girlfriend. Angelina was my entire youth. No one could compare to her. Not even Emma. Snap. The towel in her hand broke in half. Messy, say that again. Her voice was frigid, her eyes looking down at me sitting on the hospital bed. Right now, you don't have anyone called a girlfriend. You only have one wife. And that's me. She spoke as if giving a command. I looked up at her, trying to remain calm. But I lost my memory. I don't remember you. I only remember Angelina. I secretly calculated in my mind. Emma. Let me go. You don't love me. And in my heart, there is someone else. She's dead. Emma's voice was suddenly ice cold. Impossible. I fiercely objected. Angelina can't be dead. The person I love so deeply. How could she be dead? Well, not yet. She looked up at me, her gaze sharp as a knife. But don't let me find her. Messy, your behavior now is called adultery. I trembled with anger. You don't love me, but you won't even let me cheat? No. I won't allow it. Emma's voice deepened. Her strong hand rested on my shoulder, forcing me to sit still. Then before I could burst into tears, her voice softened slightly. Don't move. You'll pull your wound. And it will hurt again. I stiffened. And her hand slowly rested on my head, gently stroking my hair. Messy. I will definitely make you remember everything. You are the one who loves me. And you are only ever allowed to love me alone. I gently closed my eyes. No. I will only ever love Angelina. A month later, I was finally discharged from the hospital. Though I was very unwilling, I still had to return to the house that Emma and I shared. My parents finally came to visit. Emma was not home that day. As I was sitting in the living room, the housekeeper led them in to see me. They didn't come alone, they also brought my biological younger brother. His name was Leonardo, which means, my family's hope. Just hearing the name was enough to know. He and I were worlds apart. Perhaps because we were brothers. Even though I had amnesia, I still felt a natural familiarity with him. I approached him proactively, asking gently, "What's your name?" But Leonardo didn't answer, only frowned, looking at me seriously. "You are really too much. Taking up sister-in-law for so long. Don't you know that Elon is one of a kind? Moreover, he was also badly injured." The name, Elon, was both familiar and strange, leaving me stunned. I asked, "Who is he?" My parents looked at each other, somewhat awkward. After a while, my father spoke up. "He is your tutor. If you don't believe me, ask your mother." My mother lightly scoffed, and my father continued, his voice strained. "You wouldn't listen back then. insisting on keeping him for private tutoring. Your mother and I originally intended to give him a sum of money to cut off all contact, so that you and Emma wouldn't have any more trouble because of it. But last month, an unexpected thing happened. Elon was also in a car accident, just like you. Your brother worries about him. And your parents worry about your brother. So we had to ask Emma to help keep an eye on him. It's just that she didn't get our call. I looked at them, a bitterness suddenly rising in my heart. So, did you two know I was also in an accident? As parents, shouldn't you come to take care of your son first? Or, with Leonardo here, I'm no longer important? My father lowered his head, his voice smaller. I know. But at that time your brother was still studying abroad. And your mother was busy with work. He spoke more and more faintly, then fell silent. I looked at my mother, who had no patience. Why are you talking so much? You're the eldest brother, but you don't understand things at all. Your parents sent your brother abroad to study. And you have Emma as your wife in the country. So what is there to worry about? Don't compete for affection with your younger brother anymore. You've been spoiled more than him for over 10 years. Your parents have been too good to you. I gave a faint laugh. Yes, too good. If Leonardo had been born first, perhaps a son like me wouldn't exist in this world. Even though my memory was gone, I could still imagine how many times my heart must have felt injustice, how many times I had to endure it. In the past 10 years. Fine. I gritted out. Having a younger brother is enough. I'll be fine alone. My mother glared. What is this boy talking about? Did hitting the car give you brain damage? How can you live alone? Don't forget, you married Emma. Thanks to your parents building this business. Don't you like her very much? My father's face turned red with anger. Perhaps feeling betrayed by his son. I looked at him, calmly saying, well, I don't like her anymore. Can we cancel the marriage? The air froze. I looked at my father. In my memory, he was once a father who only belonged to me. Although sometimes he bothered me for being incompetent. I knew, because he had also experienced that. Being the son of a father who only valued wealth and status. In many families, people only need an heir. But in my family, they considered the youngest son to be the precious heritage. My father said sternly, no, canceling the marriage is breaking faith. Do you want to break the alliance between the two families? I lightly chuckled. So, I married Emma. Not for love, but only for the benefit of cooperation. If the benefit was big enough, perhaps they would be willing to marry me off. And I was no different from a commodity. I didn't say anything more. After all, my parents raised me. If I had to repay something, even my own marriage, then I couldn't resist. As long as Emma didn't propose divorce, I could still continue living this dazed life. My parents left. Only Leonardo insisted on staying, saying he wanted to meet Emma privately. He looked at me and asked quietly, hey brother, when will sister-in-law divorce you? I was stunned. Do you want that so much? Of course, Leonardo immediately replied. Then Elon can have a place to return to. I smiled faintly, my eyes sinking. Because of that man? He's very good to me. Leonardo said, with an innocent look. Then what about this older brother? Do I treat you badly? No. It's just that Elon is better. He taught me to save water, save electricity, and also save food. Is that so? I smiled, indifferent. Sounds like a very good tutor. Yes, that's right. He nodded, not noticing the sarcasm in my voice. But just based on those few moral principles. My brother liked him that much? Surely. It wasn't just saving education, so simply. Elon is much better than you. Stop pretending, you fundamentally don't like me. Leonardo said, his small face flushed but his tone still firm. Elon told me. He said that before I was born. You were the only young master of the house. And now, you're just insignificant in the family. The boy spoke with a choked voice, trying to be brave. Give sister-in-law back to Elon. I won't fight for mom and dad with you. I can leave home. Who told you to leave home? I cold-faced, directly chased him out the door. Before leaving. Because he didn't get to see Emma. He still looked unwilling. Messy, you're truly too much. Your car accident wasn't caused by Elon. So why are you holding on to sister-in-law? It was because you were driving carelessly. And almost caused Elon to. Before he finished the sentence, a white flash went off in my head. In that instant, chaotic memories flooded back. In that accident, I was clearly the one in front. But Emma ran over to save Elon first. I almost didn't make it. The memory was chaotic, painful. And I only remembered that little bit. After Leonardo left, I slept for a long afternoon. When I woke up, Emma had returned from the hospital. She carried the faint scent of disinfectant. A smell I didn't hate. She spoon-fed me a meal. And then wanted to help me bathe. No other intentions. She obediently explained. Your body is very weak right now. I believed she had no other intentions. But the more I looked, the more I realized. She was trying to restrain herself. Wanting to do that thing with me. But I always treated her like air. Not even allowing a slight touch. Even now, I can handle bathing and things myself. I said curtly. Emma slightly moved, nodding very gently. I felt annoyed. Actually, I had noticed for a long time. Emma looked at me with eyes of obsessive love. Craving, frustrated, inexplicable. Perhaps her relationship with Elon was a spiritual purity kind of love. But the desire in her never faded. I didn't like her hot and cold manner. Thinking of this, my heart felt heavy as a rock. I blurted out. Emma, my girlfriend looks a bit like you. It's just, she's a little more beautiful. She froze, her face darkening. What do you mean by, looks like me? What do you mean by, more beautiful than me? Do you like her, just because she looks like me? Emma clenched her fists. Her eyes red. No, you are not allowed to think about her anymore. I shook my head. I can't. Right now, my mind is only on Angelina. I truly like her. You wouldn't understand. I propped my chin, my voice listless. Besides, you betrayed me too. In your circle of friends. The only photo together is with another man. Is he Elon? The so-called first love in her heart. Turned out everyone could see it. Emma was dumbfounded. She hadn't used social media in a long time. But she remembered that photo. It was from many years ago. When she and Elon hadn't broken up yet. That photo, he posted it from her phone. And told her not to delete it. She reluctantly agreed. And kept it until today. I thought. Ours was the kind of marriage that allowed a third party. I looked at her for a long time and said. No, I never allowed it. Emma's eyes were red. She tightly gripped my wrist, enunciating each word. Between us, there is no place for a third party. She took a deep breath. Then immediately deleted the photo. See, I deleted it. Now it's your turn. Forget that Angelina girl. Do you hear me clearly? Her voice was suddenly terrifyingly strong. I violently pulled my hand out of her grasp. I can't forget. My memory stopped 10 years ago. In my memory. Yesterday. Angelina and I did something that makes others blush. Emma felt a pounding headache, as if her head would explode. Yesterday. She tried to stay calm and asked. Yesterday, what exactly happened? In truth, she didn't want to hear the answer. She only wanted to know. To decide what kind of death to give that Angelina girl. That was her husband. Her everything. And what was Angelina? That's my private business, don't ask. I hadn't finished speaking. When she lifted my entire body. What are you doing, taking me to the hospital? The doctor said you should go home to recuperate, she said. But I can't wait any longer. Emma couldn't wait any longer. She just wanted to make me remember everything. I was taken back to a luxurious VIP ward. Emma invited an entire team of experts for a consultation. Just to restore my memory. But before a plan was presented, Elon came to see me. For the first time in his life. He bowed his head and apologized to me. The unleashed thirst. It turned out that in Emma's heart all these years, the person who held the deepest place was me. I'm sorry, aren't you going to yell at me? You want to be yelled at? Fine, I'll indulge you. Elon. You are truly shameless, selfish, without any sense of decency, is that enough? I rarely ever yell at people. But Elon was truly hateful. Not only did he pull strings, but he also badmouthed me to Leonardo. After I finished speaking, Elon's eyes were bloodshot. He glared at me. You've yelled, and now you're still acting unhappy? Oh well, I didn't want to make things difficult for him anymore. Who has the time for that? Elon, I know you like Emma. If you want, I can make it happen for the two of you. You two being together, for me, is also a blessing. As for me, I remember clearly. I still have a first love of my own in my heart. Her name is Angelina. After the consultation with the experts concluded, Emma's mood was no better. They discussed my condition, though not too bad, but if they wanted me to recover my memory quickly, they absolutely had to let me interact with what I wanted. And what I wanted to interact with. Why ask further? Of course it was Angelina. Emma sat alone in her office, feeling as if her whole heart was being squeezed. She always thought I loved her very much. But now, she saw, the affection I had for her was far inferior compared to Angelina. My love for her was merely care and pampering. I cared for her, accommodated her. But whenever Angelina was mentioned, the shy smile, the bright eyes on my face, made Emma see me as a teenager for the first time. To be honest, Emma was not close to me during school. She didn't even have any impression of me. But even so, she couldn't accept the fact that my youth had been spent liking someone else. Did they ever kiss? Probably so. Just thinking about it, Emma was so angry her liver boiled. Just then, the landline phone in the house rang. It was the receptionist calling. Someone from the publishing house wanted to find Madam, because they couldn't reach Messi. After being admitted to the hospital, Messi had to undergo several checkups every day, and didn't have his cell phone with him. The publishing house couldn't get through by calling, so they had to call the house. Emma was usually very busy. 99% of the calls at home were answered by me, so she didn't think much of it. The publishing house wanted to print my novel. I was very happy, and immediately agreed. I was the kind of person who liked to share. But there was a long period of time when I hid a one-sided love. Then I put that person into my story, so that one day, many people could read about it. But no need to worry. That person would never know. Because that person never cared about what I was doing. I was reading a book, she thought I was killing time. I was on the computer, she thought I was playing games. She didn't care about my past, and never talked to me about the future. That person was my contract wife, Emma. When Emma opened the first page of the novel, in just a second, she realized Angelina, in the book, was her. The lines were both bitter and brilliant. Do you know the feeling of stealing a glance? It's when you are close to the person you like, but only dare to be a small, silent thief. Today I stole Angelina's body temperature. The paragraph recounted in detail the scene where I finished playing soccer. She came to give me water. I didn't dare to get close the whole time, only accidentally touching fingertips, for less than a second, which made me happy for many days. With just a few lines like that, Emma immediately remembered. In the 12th grade, there was a boy with a flushed face, who gave her a bottle of mineral water. When he came close, he still carried a faint sweet scent. It turned out that from that day on, she had known him, a student in class 12A, slow to develop, obedient, and gentle named Messi. It was just that at the time she didn't pay attention, and didn't even remember his face. Now, a choked feeling welled up in her heart. Not knowing if it was regret or pity, she flipped to the next page. Our first kiss happened on May 21st, 10 years ago. So that was the first kiss Messi once mentioned. Of course, this part in the story was just imagination. The whole book was a mix of truth and fiction, with both real memories and fabrications. His one-sided love was sweet yet painful. But for Emma, her mood unexpectedly improved significantly. The more she read, the more comfortable everything around her felt. It turned out, the person Messi once liked was her. She was jealous of herself. but still couldn't control the corners of her mouth from curving up. For the first time, she realized being loved by Messi was a feeling that made one so elated. She only regretted not being able to immediately run to the hospital. To hear him say a few more times, "I once liked Angelina." But just then, the cell phone on the desk suddenly rang. The craving was completely exposed. All these years, it turned out that in Emma's heart, the one who occupied the deepest place was me. "I'm sorry, aren't you going to scold me? You want to be scolded? Fine, I'll indulge you. Elon, you are truly shameless, selfish, without any sense of decency. Is that enough? I rarely ever scold people." But Elon was truly hateful. Not only did he pull strings, but he also went around badmouthing me to Leonardo. After hearing me, Elon's eyes were bloodshot. He glared at me. "You've already yelled, and now you're still acting unhappy?" Oh well, I didn't want to make things difficult for him anymore. Who has the time for that? "Elon, I know you like Emma. If you want, I can make it happen for the two of you. You two being together, for me, is also a blessing. As for me, I remember clearly. I still have a first love of my own in my heart. Her name is Angelina. ... After the consultation with the experts, Emma's mood was no better. They discussed my condition, though not too bad, but if they wanted me to recover my memory quickly, they absolutely had to let me interact with what I wanted. And what I wanted to interact with. Why ask further? Of course it was Angelina. Emma sat alone in her office, feeling as if her whole heart was being squeezed. She always thought I loved her very much. But now, she saw, the affection I had for her was far inferior compared to Angelina. My love for her was merely care and pampering. I cared for her, accommodated her. But whenever Angelina was mentioned, the shy smile, the bright eyes on my face, made Emma see me as a teenager for the first time. To be honest, Emma was not close to me during school. She didn't even have any impression of me. But even so, she couldn't accept the fact that my youth had been spent liking someone else. Did they ever kiss? Probably so. Just thinking about it, Emma was so angry her liver boiled. Just then, the landline phone in the house rang. It was the receptionist calling. Someone from the publishing house wanted to find Madam, because they couldn't reach Messi. After being admitted to the hospital, Messi had to undergo several checkups every day, and didn't have his cell phone with him. The publishing house couldn't get through by calling, so they had to call the house. Emma was usually very busy. 99% of the calls at home were answered by me, so she didn't think much of it. The publishing house wanted to print my novel. I was very happy, and immediately agreed. I was the kind of person who liked to share. But there was a long period of time when I hid a one-sided love. Then I put that person into my story, so that one day, many people could read about it. But no need to worry. That person would never know, because that person never cared about what I was doing. I was reading a book, she thought I was killing time. I was on the computer, she thought I was playing games. She didn't care about my past, and never talked to me about the future. That person was my contract wife, Emma. ... When Emma opened the first page of the novel, in just a second, she realized Angelina, in the book, was her. The lines were both bitter and brilliant. Do you know the feeling of stealing a glance? It's when you are close to the person you like, but only dare to be a small, silent thief. Today I stole Angelina's body temperature. The paragraph recounted in detail the scene where I finished playing soccer. She came to give me water. I didn't dare to get close the whole time, only accidentally touching fingertips, for less than a second, which made me happy for many days. Just with a few lines like that, Emma immediately remembered. In the 12th grade, there was a boy with a flushed face, who gave her a bottle of mineral water. When he came close, he still carried a faint sweet scent. It turned out that from that day on, she had known him, a student in class 12A, slow to develop, obedient, and gentle, named Messi. It was just that at the time she didn't pay attention. and didn't even remember his face. Now, a choked feeling welled up in her heart. Not knowing if it was regret or pity, she flipped to the next page. Our first kiss happened on May 21st, 10 years ago. So that was the first kiss Messi once mentioned. Of course, this part in the story was just imagination. The whole book was a mix of truth and fiction, with both real memories and fabrications. His one-sided love was sweet yet painful. But for Emma, her mood unexpectedly improved significantly. The more she read, the more comfortable everything around her felt. It turned out, the person Messi once liked was her. She was jealous of herself, but still couldn't control the corners of her mouth from curving up. For the first time, she realized being loved by Messi was a feeling that made one so elated. She only regretted not being able to immediately run to the hospital. To hear him say a few more times, "I once liked Angelina." But just then, the cell phone on the desk suddenly rang. Emma wanted to explain, but didn't know how to open her mouth. No matter what she said, she had disappointed Messi to the extreme. There was nothing left to say. Fortunately, the commercial marriage still existed between the two of them. It sounded cold, but in reality, a marriage of convenience is sometimes more enduring than one of love. Because if it's love, when the love ends, they can go their separate ways. But a commercial marriage is not like that. It doesn't just bind two people, but also the connection between two families, two businesses. Emma used to hate this marriage, but now she felt lucky. She had to admit it. She had liked Messi for a long time, and not just in physical desire. This is the only way I can repay my parents, because I have no other choice. I sighed softly, turned and returned to the ward, tossing that novel into the trash can. In truth, from the beginning, I was just a coward, only daring to dream but not act. A tool without self-determination. 2 months passed. The treatment gradually progressed, and I began to remember most of what happened before. During that time, I always stayed in the newlywed home of Emma and me. She changed a lot. She came home more often than before, occasionally cooked, and sometimes created small surprises. Sometimes looking at her, I almost felt like I was seeing the image of the fictional character, Angelina, in that novel. But I knew clearly, Angelina was just my imagination, and Emma was not. That evening, Elon and I rode the airport bus back to the city. I had no idea the person sitting right in front of me was Emma's first love. Yet he recognized me. He told me a lot about the past between him and Emma, and the present. It turned out that after marrying me, Emma still had someone in a foreign country take care of him. Food, daily life, everything was thoughtfully arranged by her. I suddenly remembered countless late nights. After being with me, she would go out to the balcony, sitting and staring at her phone for a long time. At that time, was she thinking of Elon? If I had known she still felt so deeply, perhaps I wouldn't have been so stubborn until now. If so, in this commercial marriage, I would have been the first to let go. But it seems, it's not too late now. That evening, Emma lay next to me, her hand resting on my body, as if sending a subtle signal. I knew, the intimacy of husband and wife was unavoidable. But she was ovulating that day. I haven't bought any condoms. I don't want to get pregnant. Why do you say I don't want to? She still seemed unwilling to give up. I lightly smiled. Have you forgotten? On our wedding night, you once said, a commercial marriage doesn't need to have children. To avoid unnecessary bondage. Her hand clenched tighter on my chest, then fell silent. I closed my eyes, thinking that my future life would just be immersed in this cold marriage. But then, news came from my parents' house. They adopted Elon as their foster son, just because he liked to drink white wine like them. That day, they gave the invitation to Emma. She didn't ask my opinion, just coldly threw the card into the trash can. So I didn't know about it until later. When I found out, Leonardo, my younger brother, had already run into trouble. He collapsed at the party, diagnosed with acute kidney failure, and needed an urgent kidney transplant. It sounded sudden, But thinking back, it made sense. Since childhood, Leonardo had been subjected to very high expectations from our parents. Always seen as the successor. That pressure weighed heavily throughout his childhood. When my parents came to me, they cried uncontrollably, looking like they had aged several years overnight. Messi, save your brother. Now only you can save him. Looking at their haggard appearance, I still felt soft-hearted. But what good was being soft-hearted? I could save Leonardo. But I had a condition. I am just an incompetent son. My strength is limited. Maintaining the marriage with Emma has already exhausted me. If I also give Leonardo a kidney now, I'm afraid I won't be able to bear it. So, either a divorce or a kidney transplant. Only one can be chosen. Using a kidney to exchange for my freedom. That way, for my parents, it would be enough. After all, that kidney was very precious. So precious that it could buy my own freedom. In the end, they agreed. I kept this from Emma. But eventually couldn't hide it. And even if I could hide it, so what? It was my body, I had the right to decide. She had no right to interfere. Moreover, I had already filed for divorce in court. But after the surgery, even when I recovered, Emma still refused to sign the papers. How annoying. She wouldn't even let go of my freedom. And she claimed to love me? Oh well, I had to humble myself and beg her. After all, before freedom, face was worth nothing. That weekend, in a tea shop, she and I sat across from each other. Messi, she said softly. From now on, I and Elon are just strangers. Emma and we are the same. I was very calm. Even though I had recovered all my memories now, I knew clearly how much I had loved Emma during those 10 lost years. But no matter how deep the love, I could not tolerate betrayal. Emma, I admit that I can't forget you immediately. But give me time, and I will definitely forget you. Once, you were the only heroine in my life. Yet I didn't even dare to write your real name. Loving Emma was truly an exhausting matter. I didn't want to be exhausted anymore. Emma, you know it all. I once loved you so abjectly. And now that I finally managed to lift my head, wanting to walk ahead of you for once, wouldn't you allow even that? The faint scent of tea spread between the two of us. Emma lowered her eyes, a rare, calm smile appearing on her composed face. Very well, I allow it. Finally, I, Messi, divorced her. The first thing I did after the divorce was to write the ending for that novel. A completely different ending, where the male and female leads lived happily ever after. After the book was published and released, I held an online Q&A session to answer reader questions. Someone asked, "Did you write that ending to please the readers?" I thought for a moment, then replied, "No, it's to satisfy myself. To love someone secretly is very painful. So I wanted things to be a little more complete, at least in the book." Then someone else asked, "Does the female lead have a real-life inspiration?" Right at that moment, an account named Angelina unexpectedly joined the reader group. Everyone clamored, guessing it was a new fan. But when I saw that familiar profile picture, I knew exactly who it was. Facing the reader's question, I just gently shook my head. The prototype for the female lead no longer exists. The live stream room was filled with question marks. What do you mean, no longer exists? Did she exist before? I shook my head again. She didn't exist before either. I was just mistaken. A moment later, the account named Angelina left the group. And I also turned off the stream. Unable to sleep that night. What was I thinking? It seemed it was about the day I first lost my memory. When the woman who only existed in my imagination, Emma, suddenly became my wife for real. I should have been happy. But when I recalled everything between us, I realized that the ending for her and me was not beautiful at all. I once thought I was the prince, and she was the princess. We loved each other and got married. But the truth was, the princess's heart already belonged to someone else. In this reality, the story between her and me was a tragedy from the very beginning. Therefore, I decided to stop it. To stop that sad story. I continued to write other stories. Many readers asked me, is there any heroine better than Angelina? I answered without hesitation. Of course there is. Even though my youth has closed, my life is still long. I will have a better heroine. Extra story. 3 years passed. Messi wasn't just talking, whether in reality or in fiction. He truly had a new, better heroine. He married a university junior, a woman who had been single for many years. Some people suspected. Did she wait for you to get divorced? She firmly denied it. I am not that kind of person. I never wanted to be a third party. Then she hesitated, saying something that Messi didn't understand at the time. I just want to live a little longer than that other person. Messi later learned she had an extremely strict health plan, because she wanted to live longer than Emma, to become his successor. In fact, she and Emma were friends. Messi accidentally appeared beside Emma many times, and she saw it with her own eyes quite often. The girl also smelled the gentle vanilla scent that Emma often wore. What Messi didn't know was that woman also once loved him. She thought that Messi married Emma only because of a commercial marriage. So when he divorced, in that very moment, she wanted to marry him. Of course, when she learned the truth, she was devastated for a long time. But then, she comforted herself. It doesn't matter. A good result is enough. The passers-by are not important. When she married Messi, Messi no longer came from that family. Everyone knew that Messi's family had adopted another son to replace him, and treated that person more intimately than their own flesh and blood. After divorcing Emma, Messi rarely returned to his parents' home, and the affection between him and his parents faded over the years. Only his younger brother was still struggling, but he no longer paid attention. However, on the day Messi walked out of the hotel hosting the wedding, Leonardo, his younger brother, appeared in the crowd. He had grown much taller, already possessing the look of a small adult. He was still the golden darling of the family, loved by everyone, except for his biological older brother Messi. As Leonardo grew up, he learned that Elon had always been brainwashing him, and approaching him also had a personal motive. He wanted to get close to his brother. But by then, his brother no longer cared about anyone. He didn't even receive a wedding invitation. He felt hurt and resentful, even though he had chased Elon away. Even though he knew Elon was never truly his brother, he still felt pain in his heart. Elon was good to him, merely out of hatred that his biological brother had stolen Emma. So Elon retaliated by stealing the most important thing to his brother, which was him. But he was wrong, because to his brother, he was never important. Leonardo lowered his head deeply, gathered all the lucky money he had saved since childhood, put it into a red envelope, and handed it with both hands to the elderly woman collecting envelopes at the wedding reception. This is for the groom. The old woman smiled and asked, "Who are you to the groom, dear?" Leonardo was silent, glancing up at the wedding photo, thinking bitterly, why doesn't she realize it? I look so much like him. I'm his biological brother. He lowered his voice and said, I am the person the groom hates the most. Also on the day Messi got married, Emma sat absent-mindedly in the apartment that used to be their shared home. The sunlight shone onto the desk. A white piece of paper turned golden. There were a few lines of writing shimmering under the light. She curiously walked closer, and discovered it was a commitment letter, on which was written, Messi will forever love Emma, and will absolutely never leave her. The handwriting was delicate, each stroke containing patience and tenderness. Years ago, at the time this paper was written, he must have loved her to the extreme. Just then, she received a call from Elon, saying that he had just returned from abroad, ran into a bit of trouble, and needed her help. She didn't think much of it and rushed out of the house. And because of that, she didn't get Messi to sign that commitment. Sometimes, she still wondered, if she had signed the paper back then, would Messi have left her? That question always haunted Emma. She almost lost all motivation to work, sinking into a state of emptiness for a long time. She didn't know how long it took. until she remembered she was a doctor. The heroine in Messi's story. She couldn't and didn't want to collapse like this. She had to live like the heroine he once described. Half a year later, she became a doctor for the Volunteer Doctors Organization. Then, she went abroad, to areas of war and conflict, to help others. Her family worried, pleading with her to return many times. But she never wavered. Because she didn't want to be Emma anymore. She wanted to become a better, stronger person. Someone like the one in his novel. Angelina. The person Messi once loved the most.